Hey, this is Derek D Train He2. Tonight's episode is brought to you by
BrandedBills.com. What?
There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. There goes a sight from my soul. I think a tall angel just walked by. I think a tall angel just walked by. I think a tall angel just walked by. I think a tall angel just walked by.
All right, ready?
No problem.
3, 2, 1. Hell, welcome back to the Blue Line Hockey Club, folks. We got another exciting episode of the Blue Line Hockey Club, boys. We got all the usual suspects sitting in the house with us tonight. We got our producer, Patrick Uncle Lardy Sullivan. What's up, Patrick?
Aloha.
And our nerd, our local IT guy, Robbie Pete Peters. What's up, Pete?
Hey, how you doing?
And the all-around sports guru, Derek D-Train He2. What's up, D-Train?
What's up, Sweetos?
And your host of the Blue Line Hockey Club tonight, Mark the Doctor Morley.
Oh, doctor.
And we got a friend, the Blue Line Hockey Club, back with the Blue Liners tonight. He was on episode 35, maybe. But he's back with us tonight for number 98. George, what's up? Georges Laraque's with us.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, George. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on. Good to see your face.
Welcome. Thank you.
So, George, we heard through the grapevine a couple interviews out there that you are just coming out of the COVID-19 virus situation. Is that true?
Yeah, no, I am. Yeah. I got it Thursday. On Thursday, the first 2 days were the hardest days, but now I'm at the end of it. I still have pneumonia, but now I could just rest at home. I'm like 2 weeks confinement at home, but no, things are much better now. And I have asthma, so that's why in the beginning when it attacked my lungs, it was kind of hard to breathe. But with a little bit of oxygen it helped me get through this, and now I feel way better.
So what were some of the symptoms that you had that you were thinking that you might have it? Like I've heard some people lose their taste and their sense of smell and stuff like that. That happened to you?
Yeah, I did lose taste, sense of smell, even to this day. It's still a little bit hard, but it's really my breathing. It's really the part that got me worried a bit, because when you have asthma and your breathing is getting shortened a bit, then you never want it to stop. So, and when I heard that it attacks your lungs sometimes and it could cause pneumonia, I went to the hospital. They did X-ray and I had double pneumonia. So it
Wow.
attacked my lungs, and that's why I needed the oxygen, because it was every day was getting harder and harder to breathe because of this disease.
Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea, like, where you might have came in contact with it? Have they asked you about that kind of thing, or?
Yeah, no, they did, and I was doing a delivery for the elderly people. I was picking up groceries because the elderly, they can't really go out. So I was picking up grocery lists for them and going out there to get stuff for them. And the thing is, when you get groceries and you get stuff, you're not supposed to touch your face. You're supposed to wash your hand first. But when you're in a grocery for a while, sometimes bad habits sometimes are fixing your hair or whatever, and then I touched my face, and that's how I infected it, just by doing groceries and stuff. So in the future, when I'm going to help them out, and maybe I'll just wear gloves, so it'll give me a habit of not touching my face until I wash my hand, to make sure that I don't get it again.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah.
George, how long were you in the hospital? Like a week or so?
I was I got there on Thursday. I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks, and I end up being there just for 5 days, which is great because I'd rather just pursue my own treatment at home than it was tough because at the hospital it was a red zone. I was living with two elderly people that was infected too, and they were really suffering. And to be honest with you, I don't think they're both gonna make it out. So it was a tough scene to watch them suffering every single day. But yeah, this is sadly it's the reality now.
Yeah, nobody can come in and see you or anything like that. So no visitors. So you're pretty much stuck in your room and
No,
quarantined.
no,
Yeah, it's some boring
yeah,
shit
that's right.
on top of feeling
So,
like shit.
so George, you say you were living with an older couple. Is that like 3 people to a room, or?
Yeah, yeah, it was 3 people per room, and it's right now they need all the beds they could take. So as soon as somebody could feel better just to go home, somebody else right away takes my place because in Montreal there's a big problem right now. It's getting out of control, and obviously I know in the states it is too in the world of Trump, but we don't have to go there.
What was the highest oxygen you were on in the hospital? Like 3 liters, 4 liters? Did you have to go up high?
Really, three, I was others, but yeah, actually Thursday I was on 3 liter, but I still wasn't that well, and I almost went to ICU to the ventilator. I was this close to go there, and I was like, oh man, because I heard some stuff about the ventilator, how it could damage you for life by going in there. So I almost went there the first day, but I'm glad that my breathing kind of stabilized and I didn't have to go there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
George,
amen
listen,
to that.
you're talking about Montreal. Like I live, so all of us are from a town in upstate New York called Canton, New York. And we're pretty close to the border of Canada. And we actually, are pretty close. Cornwall, yeah. I mean, we're very close to Montreal as well. So it's kind of interesting. So up here, we don't have the numbers like of the city, like of New York City, but we do have like, the border towns of like Messina, New York, Ogdensburg, New York, like places that are, up closer to the Canadian border. They actually have more of the virus than some of us, down, a little bit more down from that part of the county. So it's interesting to hear that Montreal is having that. So that's probably some of the spillover from Montreal because there's a lot of people that cross the border here on a daily basis. So some of that's probably spilling down this way,
Yes,
I would assume.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
I'm glad it's not as bad on your side then.
Yeah, no, it's not terrible here. It's not like the city, but we definitely have some cases, but nothing like you guys are probably dealing with, or the city's not even
Yeah,
close to what the city's dealing with. But
yeah, yeah. No
good
kidding.
good to
Are
see you
they,
getting healthy, man, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
so did they try any drugs to, there's like some kind of experimental drugs that they're trying. I guess you could call them experimental, but some people
UV
think they
light up
work.
your ass.
Actually, but you know what? I was pretty disappointing in that because if I went to some private clinic, they would do it. At the hospital that I was, they didn't. All they did is give me cortisone pill. They said, take a pill a day, that's it, which is a joke. Um,
Mm.
they do experimental stuff in the States, but in Canada, not so much because it's not
Okay.
proven enough. So they didn't do anything. So all I did is with the cortisone the day that I was doing, I just, a friend of mine is a naturopath and he's giving me some healthy natural product that I try and I've been getting better and healthier through a natural product, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is the
CBD.
hospital vegan? They got vegan food there, the hospital?
Well, actually, the hospital, yeah, they had vegan food for me, but they gave me mashed potatoes and microwave, so I didn't need that. I didn't eat much the food that they were giving me there and stuff, so it was I couldn't wait to leave. I was starving because the food was, when you're sick, food is one of the most important things to eat to get better. But
Yes,
I
sir.
thought if I ate that stuff, my situation was going to be worse. So I didn't eat much when I was there.
Smart man, probably.
Yeah, I don't know why the hospitals can't up their food a little bit. I mean,
Mass
what the fuck?
production, man. They got to cook it for a lot of people. Just boil the shit out of
Yeah,
something.
It's the only thing you
yeah.
have look forward to in there. So there's been no sports going on, George. Obviously, hockey's been paused, and there's a little bit of talk now that the guys are skating again, and we might see some hockey here in the near future. I mean, what do you think about that situation?
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen because right now, health is so much more important. For hockey to happen, listen to this, okay? In Canada and the States, there's a problem with testing. There's not enough of it. Just in Canada, the nurse can't even get tested before they go home to see the family, and they're afraid because they don't know if they have it. How would that make sense? The hockey that wants to play is going to make sure that they get testing for all the players so they could play, and testing like rapid testing so they know right away if the guys are okay, because then they have to go in quarantine. How would that make sense to the population to get all those tests for the hockey guys first before the general
Yeah.
public, the public health? Like, it doesn't work. And at the same
That's
time, during a
backwards.
crisis like this, there's so many guys that don't want to get away from their family for a couple months to go play hockey in a season that's going to mean what? It's not, the Stanley Cup is one of the hardest trophy to win. If you do a season that is shortened like this and playoff that are not a true best of seven, we all know that the only reason why they want to finish the season is try to get as much TV revenue as possible. So next year the cap is at 81 million, and the guys don't
Yeah.
pay a tax of 45 or 50% escrow. That's the only reason why. Other than that, it's not smart to do so. What message are you sending to the world? And how could you watch a hockey game with no fans in the stands? If the energy guys are entertainers, if they play with nobody in the stands, the game is going to be shit. There'll be no
Yeah.
emotion, no hitting, nothing. Nothing will change momentum because there's no noise in the stands. Guys are not used to it. It's going to be like a training camp. So if you're going to see something that is not going to be a good show, why even putting one on? So that's why they should just focus on the draft, focus on next year, and just squash this season.
Yeah, I'm with you
I think
on
that's
that.
I think that's an interesting take, George, because I don't think there's enough. A lot of these sports are talking about opening back up without fans, and like I don't think obviously the players are a massive part of the equation, but fans make sports what they are. I mean, you're not the
Yeah.
emotion of the emotion of the game, is brought by the players, but a lot of it is brought by the fans. And like you said, there's not gonna be hitting. Like when when a game gets down to the wire and people start rocking
Yeah,
people start rocking bodies and stuff like that. The whole emotion within the arena is what kind of drives the players to play at the next level.
yeah,
So
that's true.
I completely agree with you, man. That's a variable that I don't think, obviously these TV companies and everything want to make big revenue, like you're saying. So that's a variable that not enough people are taking into place. Obviously we're all starving for sports, but I don't think that we're all like
Yeah, we
understanding
are.
what we might see though. I mean, maybe we're going to be let down.
No, and on top of that, another point that is even worse than that, if you look in the NFL, the TV revenue is so big that each team gets enough money that pays the entire payroll of a team. In the
Yeah.
NHL, the TV revenue are not the same. So they don't have enough in TV revenues to pay the salary of the guys. They need the people in the stands. So most teams in the NHL, if the season starts with nobody in the stands, it's going to cost them money to operate because they don't have enough revenue from TV revenues to pay the salary. So they rather not have the season to start because next year, let's say next year the season doesn't start, they're not going to pay the guys. So they're going to save money because many teams won't be able to afford to play with nobody in the stand. So that's not a problem that the NHL is going to have to look at because, man, with what's going on, big contracts, they're going to change. It's going to change now. It's going to change for a long time.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean the NHL. I mean, how are they? Like you say, I mean, how can they afford to pay these guys? Their contracts are now like some of the superstars are getting paid 10, 12, 13 million dollars a year. The salaries have really increased over the last 5 years. So to make up those numbers with no fans, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's like all business right now. Look at restaurants are getting crippled, hotels, certain industries that are really dying right now because of the shutdown and stuff like that. Well, the sports teams are probably feeling the same hurt.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of companies that are going to close. And those companies that are closed are companies that were sponsoring teams, they're sponsoring the league. And, if we think that this crisis is big, the economical one is going to be 10 times the size of it. because we're really going to be struggling like economically, because a lot of companies are going to be closing, and there's going to be a lot of struggle, and there's going to be a lot of fight. There's going to be a lot. It's going to get ugly for a long time. And the economy, it's known that when the economy is not doing so good, crimes are up. And I hope it doesn't going to go there, but that's going to hurt all sport. The economy is going to hurt all sport that we know as today.
Hey, George, do you still have your store down in Montreal?
Yeah, I do, but the store is doing good right now because we have an eBay store, and we sell online and stuff. So, but and you know, like we know, like, but I've always known that being online is more important because the future is going that way, right? If you do stuff online, it's better because you're always available for your customer. As when you have a physical store with a crazy rent, it always takes money out of your pocket for nothing. And if anything happens, I see all those businesses that are gonna have to close down because of the rent that they couldn't afford, and stuff is just so sad. But I've always focused, each company that I have, I've always focused on a online component to make sure that if anything was to happen, I could still operate.
Nice.
Yeah. That's what you got to do.
Yep.
Amazon, baby.
Yeah.
Well, George, man, listen, I mean, I think all of us have just wanted to basically see your face, man, and see that you're doing well.
Thank you.
You know, you came on before, and we had a great conversation with you, and everybody knows, everybody in the league knows you as this big tough guy, you know, and so hearing how, you know, this tiny little virus can kind of cripple anybody, you know, man, it's good to see your face, and I think it's important for NHL fans to see you feeling better and doing better, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate you, you know, coming on here and kind of giving us an update and giving the, you know, NHL fans an update as to how you're doing. So we really appreciate that, man.
That's so nice of you guys to do that, and thank you for the wishes and the encouragement. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, get well. I don't think you're quite 100% out of the woods yet, right? A couple more days.
No, yeah, a couple more days. I felt way better in the first day, but it doesn't just get off like that. But no, every day it's not a battle anymore, but every day I feel much better.
God bless you, man. God bless you. Awesome. Yeah.
All right, George, man, keep fighting.
Thank you,
Thanks
brother.
for coming on, George.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, buddy.
Have a good night,
Yep.
guys.
Take
Thanks.
care, man.
Thanks.
Pete, how are you doing up there?
Too bad, hanging in.
Hey, man, good to hear from Georges Laraque tonight. Obviously, something the NHL fans can relate to. One of the retired NHLers getting the COVID-19 virus, and to hear firsthand what it was like for him. And, you know, it kind of sucks. Like he said, he's in a room with two elderly people that might not make it. Obviously, those are the people most affected by it. You know, and him being a healthy person, younger, can fight through it. So kind of the consensus that we've been seeing through this whole process is of the vulnerability of the elderly. It's kind of sad to see.
Did you say vulnerability or
Boner.
Vulnerability.
No,
A
it was
lot
great.
of boners.
And to hear his story, you know, that he how he contracted that was in the store, you know, serving the elderly is great. George is just a great guy. If anyone does any reading about him online or follow him on Twitter or social media, he does so much for the community. He's not, you know, you see him on the ice, like Derek said, big tough guy, all the NHL fans, players, alumni. He's one mean son of a bitch on the ice. And boy, I'd hate to line up with him, you know, like this. That would not be fun.
You see the size of his hands?
His hands are huge. I was like, look out.
But besides that, outside in the community in Montreal, just a great guy, and he just continues to do more and more every day. So it was awesome. Yeah, it was great to see George on.
I think
Rob was sizing him up. That's why Rob was.
Yeah, Rob. I saw Rob kind of giving the dirty stink eye at him, but
He's like, this is my chance. He's down. His immune system's not so great right now. I might have a chance if I duck and move.
I thought it was great. You know, it's interesting. You know, here it is. A guy contracts COVID trying to help people. You know what I mean? Like And he kind of reiterated the thing like he probably made a mistake, stuck his fingers in his eye or something, rubbed his face or something like that, which you're not supposed to do, But
Your ass.
I think it's also, though, I mean, I would say it's encouraging for people out there, maybe, that are young, that are scared a little bit, have, maybe have asthma or something, it's encouraging to hear a guy like him that's fit, has asthma, was able to pull through it too. So that's great news. Yep.
Another reason to stay fit, boys. We're 40, but we're not dead yet.
Heart rate up every day, boys.
Heart rate up. Get your heart rate up, boys.
Pete?
Did you
Get
get your
heart rate
today?
up, though, I think. So that might count.
Yeah,
some.
that nicotine. I had
All right.
5 cups of coffee.
We don't have too much news in the NHL this week. It's pretty quiet. Pat, want to get into a little bit of what's going on, just in general for the listeners, that might not understand the affiliate systems for the NHL, where they get their feeder players from. Just going to go over that a little bit for the people listening, to give them a little info on some of these teams' affiliates and what's going on, some changing different cities and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just interested in this topic because I'm here in Raleigh, and the Charlotte Checkers, which is the Carolina Hurricanes AHL affiliate, is leaving Charlotte, which is 2 hours south of here. Easy trip to look at prospects, easy trip to bring somebody up in a pinch. Are moving to Chicago, which is a bigger hike. Airport's more, much busier than Raleigh. Well, it's just much busier. I mean, fortunately here, if they pulled someone up, it was a limo ride, right? Now they're going to have to fly someone down, let's say in a pinch, from Chicago. O'Hare's always delayed. So that's going to have to be like, a good 24-hour notice. It's not going to be like at noon you were like, oh shit, so-and-so can't play, go down to Charlotte and get, the next best guy. So anyways, that's the reason why I looked into this whole AHL thing, and it kind of was interesting to me, why teams do that, I guess. And so what I found was that some, and I played hockey forever, and I didn't even look too deep into this, but what I did find, I didn't know too much about it, and what I did find was that some NHL teams don't owns
They don't own them.
Don't owns them. So let's say a NHL team doesn't own their AHL affiliate. Well, that NHL team cannot tell, the coach to play so-and-so because, we're looking to bring him up next year. It's kind of like, hold on, buddy. It's our affiliation, our organization will run it. We might give him an extra shift, but don't tell us what to do. Whereas if you own your AHL club, you can say play him, and then the coach is going to play him every other shift. So that was weird to me. And some teams don't even have an AHL affiliation. So a good example was Jordan Byington, just won the Stanley Cup with St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues didn't have an AHL affiliate for a while. So what they do is they loan their players out. Jordan was loaned to the Providence Bruins. And, if you weren't loaned to one of these AHL affiliates, you played in the East Coast League, which is kind of weird to me. Like, the AHL is like such a big contributor to the NHL, right? Last season, 88% of NHL players were AHL graduates. And then you got these coaches, Bruce Boudreau, John Hines, Tom McLean, Joel Quenneville, John Tortorella, Barry Trotz. These are coaches that came from the AHL. So anyways, long story short, and I'll stop blabbling, is that to me, like, why doesn't the NHL invest in the AHL? Like, why are these teams switching? The Florida Panthers are coming up here to Charlotte, which is a big move because their team was in Chicago. Wait, where were they? Springfield, Springfield, Massachusetts. So that's closer for them. But anyways, that whole maneuver, Phoenix bought a team and Vegas just bought a team, which freed up Chicago. So the Checkers are going to Chicago, where they've been there before. Don Waddell's coached or been a GM there before, and Chicago's going to pay the Hurricanes more money. So anyways, all that, it's so confusing. Just own your own team. It's so important to the NHL brand to produce players. 88% of the NHL players have played in the AHL. Coaches, I just thought it was very intriguing to me. Like, I don't even know how as an NHL organization, how do you not owned an AHL team?
Yeah, and like when you talk about the Checkers and being right down the road, 2 hours away from the Hurricanes, you think you would have a lot of Hurricane fans in that area, which would help generate fan base for the AHL team. I mean, obviously you got a lot of Hurricane fans, so they don't want to drive up to watch a Hurricanes game, but they can go watch the Checkers, and they're still watching affiliates of the Hurricanes, which is their favorite NHL team. And they got a lot of teams like the Toronto Marlies, right? It's right in Toronto. San Jose is right in San Jose, which is probably the most ideal thing for these teams, but obviously it doesn't all work out logistically like that. But, most of the Northeast teams are close by. The Rangers and Hartford and Bruins and Providence. And I think the Islanders are just north in Connecticut as well. The Devils are right up there. So, I think it all makes, Binghamton. I mean, it's all really close to where their fan base is, which I think would help fill seats, for those AHL teams as well. So, I mean, I kind of like it when the affiliates at least, a couple hours away or at least close enough where they can pull some of the fan base.
Makes sense, right?
I think it's kind of like one of the things that we don't talk about much is like you look at like a league like the NFL, right? So like the NFL is like an all or nothing league. So like the guys that come out of college, right? You either make it to the league or you don't, so there's no feeder system. So there's a feeder system like in Major League Baseball, there's a feeder system in the NHL. So you wonder, I mean, at some point, what's the reason for that? I mean, at least I guess the way you could look at it from a positive aspect of like guys that are, whether or not, you have an affiliation with a specific team, at least there's an avenue for players coming out of college to make some money, right? And not, even if they don't make it to the show, at least they can make some money. And I just kind of wonder, like, do you think like certain, sport leagues will maybe change away from that and just say like, it's like an all or nothing thing. Like you either make it out of college or make it out of juniors. And, cause like this is a world of like crunching money at this point. So do you think leagues start going away from like that and start joining the NFL where you just get like one chance to make it to the league, maybe some undrafted free agents make it there? I don't know. I mean, the way I look at it though, like we can talk about all this AHL stuff, and their affiliation, but at least these players, wherever they are, have an opportunity to make some money. And I agree with you though, Pat, like, you would think that each team, if you're going to have this scenario where you have an affiliation, you would think the teams would want to have that really close to home, like control that situation. But it's interesting how some sports, some sport leagues have that and some don't. And I would be interested to kind of figure out the reason as to why some do that and some don't do that. But I'm fully on board with you, Pat, though. Like if you're gonna do it, have it close to home, like have your players like really close under your thumb, like understanding their development. Like if you need them in a pinch, be able to like drive
them to the game.
Yeah,
bring them to the NHL game.
Exactly. Yeah.
I to your point with football, I mean, I've actually thought about this a few times. Like, in football, what do they have? 4 players for each position or 3, something like that?
Yeah,
like,
pretty close. Yep.
I know the NFL has so much money, and this would just be a waste of time. And but why don't they have like their 3rd and 4th string players play on Saturdays? And it doesn't have to be big ratings, but I bet you would get a good number of people in there. 10, 12, maybe 15. Give these guys the play under the lights and something to do. Like they don't have an affiliate. They don't have the AHL or the triple A baseball league. Like baseball does it, hockey does it.
Yeah.
Football doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Baseball has single A, double A, triple A. I mean, they've got a huge farm system, and I think one of the things that
Cape Cod League. Yeah, there's leagues
I know
everywhere.
it's weird how different sports operate. It's really bizarre actually, but yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
I think one of the cool things about having the AHL is there's a lot of guys that we've even had on the show. When we look up their stats, you look at their first 4 years are in the AHL. They come out of college, they're not ready yet. They come out of juniors, they don't get picked up, they're not noticed. They go to the AHL, they play really well, and they get bumped up. Jimmy Howard, he spent a couple of years there. He was on the show. It gives them an opportunity to not fade away into the sunset. Otherwise, after you don't play for 2-3 years, you're not going to get anybody to call you up to play in the NHL. So it gives them an opportunity to keep playing, stay in shape, keep their skills to where they need to be to get that opportunity maybe when they're 25, because not everybody can come in and play in the NHL at 21, 19. Yeah. Some of these guys, leaving college early. So it gives them that opportunity so they're not, basically just going to fade away.
Yeah. And another interesting thing that I heard about or, found out about the AHL that I had no idea about. I've actually might have heard about it and it went in one ear out the other, but each AHL team can only have 5 players on the team that have played 4 years plus. So your whole squad can't be comprised of 7-year players, 7-year plus or 4-year plus players. 4 years is cut off. So only 5, and all the rest have to be younger, which is kind of making it fresh in there, right? We're not going to keep these Ogie Orgothorpes in there fucking playing for 10 years, kicks the shit out of everyone. Fucking 44 still in the AHL. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I don't know if any of you guys heard that rule before.
I had not. No, that's it. That is interesting. I didn't know that.
It kind of makes sense for the NHL teams, right? So if you got a guy after 4 or 5 years, they're not really having any looks at the NHL. All right, well, we need this younger guy. Let's see if he can be a prospect for us. Give him a shot.
Let's go.
Because for the NHL guys, they want the best teams in that affiliate, or best players. So it gives them a chance to bump them out and try somebody else. So
yeah, and on to that, Mark. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's some of the reasons why you see these boys go from the AHL, 2 years in the AHL, 2 years in the KHL or the Swedish Elite League, burn 2 years over there, come back, play another 2 years, go play another 2 years, and then hopefully get another year in the AHL. So you're extending it by your career by 8 years, making almost more money in the KHL, right? So play, maybe even go from college. Usually they go from college into the AHL or East Coast, play a couple years and try to get looked at and go play over in Europe, spend 2 years over there, come back, go back and come back. So that was another interesting thing.
Go back.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of that brown paper bag money doesn't.
Yeah, right. Who was that told us about that? Boston Bruins kid. I forget who it was, but it was interesting.
Lashoff.
Yeah. And they said that another thing I read that the AHL is one of the only professional sports that has, keeps their fan rating like home games. I think it's a little different based on football because football is once a week, right? I think it was just like baseball, hockey, but the AHL, their fan base is loyal. Like their season ticket holders are much higher than baseball and everything else. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now let's move on. A little bit of the news with the Penguins this week with their goalie situation, what's going to happen there. They're not really sure who they're going to keep or who's going to get taken. And they're both, I think, coming up on unrestricted free agents, right?
Yeah.
Matt Murray and was it DeSmith?
Tristan Jarry.
Tristan Jarry, too.
Yeah.
Has 3 of them. Casey DeSmith, Tristan Jarry.
you know, that whole scenario right now is just kind of bigger than it really is to me, you know, because of Marc-Andre Fleury, leaving him open and during that expansion draft and keeping Matt Murray. You know, Matt Murray was, you know, I think it was the Flower got hurt. I think Matt Murray's the only goalie in history to win 2 Stanley Cups in rookie seasons. Now think about that. 2 Stanley Cups in his rookie season. So I mean, he got moved up halfway through the season, which is, you know, technically his rookie season, but they don't count it as your rookie season until you play the full season, right? So, and he won back to back. First year was as a backup to Fleury, and then the second was Fleury got hurt and Murray went in and won a Stanley Cup, and then that's when the whole thing was, well, let's let Marc-Andre go. We got Murray here.
I
I
thought
think
Fleury lost his father or something like that.
yeah, was he lost his dad when he was out in Vegas, didn't he? Or was that
this year.
Yeah, so this is when the whole Pittsburgh thing, and
I'm mixing the stories, yeah.
no, he did, but that was what he already got traded. So just to see this whole thing now they're looking to do it again. Like they don't know if they should have Murray or Tristan. So I think they should have kept Marc-Andre. But
well, listen, I mean, it boils down to you got Matt Murray and Tristan Jarry. So it boils down to the fact that the Penguins have like $68 million tied up in their roster. So
yeah,
if you're going to try to keep both those goaltenders, you're going to have to, you know, definitely, you know, start thinking about the rest of your roster. So I mean, if you're going to keep them both, you're going to have to make some moves elsewhere. So I think what it comes down to is you got to pick one of the best of you know, one of the best of the two, or the, you know, the greater of the evils. You know, I don't know how you say it, but I mean, you got to make a decision, because in this age of the salary cap, you know, you got to make these kind of tough decisions. You're going to lose good players. You're going to have to make a choice as far as how you build that roster, and you can't, you know, you're going to have a weakness somewhere, I guess. So if you feel like you have a really strong goaltender, you're probably going to take the gamble of, you know, saying, I'm going to take the best that I've got, trade away the other, try to get a little capital, a little trade capital, you know, where I can maybe get a young guy, or, you know, get a, you know, some kind of draft pick out of that trade to bring a young guy in who's not going to hit the salary cap, can come in on like a rookie contract. Yeah. That's the whole thing now, man. It's like, it's the same as with a lot of sports. You got to develop through the draft, because you got to get as many players on those rookie contracts that aren't hitting the cap as much. And then you got to bring, you know, sign a few key veterans that are gonna, you know, push that cap number up and be your key contributors. But you got to get those young guys in that aren't going to affect the cap so much. It's the juggling act that is a GM in this world that we're talking about.
Yeah, one of the things that, just real quick, one of the things I don't really understand what NHL teams do is, like, when they brought Jordan Greenway in for like 10 games, like, why would they do that and not just wait till the next season? So they're pretty much letting them burn that entry level contract where they know they can keep them at under $1 million, you know, for the next 3 years, opposed to 10 games in 2 years. So I was always kind of curious to some of these college guys that come on late in the season, maybe only for a couple games for a playoff push, but at the same time, they're burning that fucking, you know, entry level contract, which they could potentially be huge that they're, you know, on that third year, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, it could add up, right? Experience though is beneficial to a draft pick like him though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, the business side of it, I guess. You know,
yeah, I mean, you're talking playoff experience at $900,000, right, or close to $1 million. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. And Mark, to your point, I mean, as a business standpoint, you keep doing that. It builds up. Where if you could just, you know, pull that back in. But yeah, like Rob said, I think they want to get those boys in that playoff experience, especially their higher picks, and you know, just, you know, get a little experience so that next year that they expect, you know, high numbers from him. He's a little comfortable walking in on that first day, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Knows the boys.
Mark, how I would answer that question is I think that these GMs and coaches are on such a short leash in this world that, in the NHL and every other sport, that they're so reluctant to try to, they want to bring a guy in, and kind of test him for a few games, to see, like, because they're trying to lean on, what they know really well. So the unknown of a guy that's coming in on a short, on the short term, they're going to try to, get a short glimpse of him, see, put the feelers on him and say, are we going to be comfortable? They're willing to give, what I'm trying to say is they're willing to give up maybe that little first year of that entry level contract to try to get the feelers out, because I think these guys are so freaking nervous trying to build the roster, and trying to keep their job security that, they're willing to give up the first year to get like a taste of the guy, but they're so dependent on what they know that they're not willing to give a lot to the unknown. So, that's my take anyways.
I mean, it's good because it shows they want to win, right? So they're putting the best players out there to win instead of just playing the money game. So I think that's good. I mean, you guys watched any of that Michael Jordan Last Dance, and I never knew that that season where he could only play like how many minutes was it? 30 minutes or something?
Yeah.
After he got hurt or something like that. So it was like they probably could have won the game. Like, no, sit down. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I think the GM came down to the bench and was like, you got to pull him out right now or else you're getting fired or something like that. But that Last Dance is the best. Like, are you guys all caught up on it?
I've only watched the first ones, and I'm eager to watch the rest of them, honestly.
Very interesting. It's pretty crazy, actually. I was a huge Jordan fan, so and I watched basketball back then when Pippen in Detroit and all the tough guys, Ewing back in New York Knicks when the Knicks were Knickerbockers were good, and the Utah Jazz with John Stockton and Karl Malone and those boys.
You got a little fun fact for Michael Jordan that I found out this week. I was talking to this guy about a real estate thing down here, and he was telling me that Michael Jordan just built a golf course, like just pretty much down the road from me, behind Apollo grounds, because he was a member at Jack Nicklaus's course, the Bear down here, and he has like high profile, gambling going on when he's playing golf, right? So I guess the guy was telling me that they carry like 150,000 cash in a briefcase on the golf cart, and then whoever wins the round takes the briefcase. So I guess like some people at these are super exclusive clubs, like I 150 to join.
That one, Mark. Remember?
Did you?
The Honda Classic Bear Trap? Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the members I think were frowning upon the gambling that was going on by Jordan, and so he's like, fuck it, and he built or is almost done building his own course like down the road.
God bless him.
Why would you be pissed at Michael Jordan playing at your country club?
If I was the owner of any course or a member of any course, I'd say, come here.
I'd want to film it. Like I would want to promote that he's gambling on my course.
I put a banner up out front that says Michael Jordan played here. For fuck's sake. I mean, come on.
Right. He would pay
150 grand. I mean, what is that though to like a billionaire? Like what's that to us? Like fucking a dime? Like maybe fucking a nickel?
$10.
Yeah, like here you go. We're playing for $10. Big fucking deal. Jordan's like, yeah, let's play for like 150 grand.
So yeah, that was the course.
Go ahead, Pat. Yeah.
That was the course the Honda Classic plays there at the PGA National, just north of Fort Lauderdale. And Telfer went into the bar. We were getting ready to go play there's a bunch of courses there. This was our first day, so we got in there at night, just went right to the bar, obviously. What else would we do? And then the next day, we had a tee time for like at 10 or 12. So, we learned our lesson. We went and got a case of beer at the 7-Eleven. But Telfer went to the bar to get, I think he asked for like a 12-pack or something like that, just to get us going. And it was like $112. He He's like, just a 12 pack, and they're like, yeah, it's $112.
Yeah, that'd be $112.
It's like $60 some a piece, or and Telver goes, all right, just give me a 6-pack.
We'll sip on them.
That'll be
Because I didn't even want to get the 6-pack. I should have just turned away. I go, you just spent $60 for 4 or 6 Bud Lights. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're an idiot.
It's like going to a hockey game, man. It's like $15-20 for a beer. Things you'll do for a cold one.
Last thing I'll say. Oh, go ahead, Pete. What do you want to say about?
I spent $43 last time Pat and I went for 2 blue light tall boys.
IPAs. No, they were IPAs.
Were they IPAs?
Yeah, we went to the IPA beer tent, but after that we went to the tall boys. $9 a piece.
Yeah, if you're gonna spend the big money, you might as well spend it on the IPA. Get a little extra pound for your buck there.
A little kick.
The last thing I would mention before we let everybody go here is that the NFL, and other sport news, they released their full schedule tonight. They plan on playing a full schedule next year without interruption, which as sport
When does
fans.
that start?
September. So they're talking about how they're going to open their training facilities right now, how that's going to happen. But the NFL plans to play a full schedule next year without any interruptions. So obviously they're going to take everything into account as far as health and safety goes. But at this stage, they're going to play a full season next year. So that should be exciting for any kind of sport fan out there.
Well, it's just good news, if anything, right?
Yeah, I heard something like Miami was only going to let like 15,000 fans in, and they were going to have to like come in sections, and then when they leave, it would be like how you leave in church, like row by row by row. Some kind of stupid shit. So I don't know. I mean, it's a long time between now and September, so who knows what'll happen by then. But I did hear
think
that.
that's more than Miami normally gets to show up to the game.
They don't have to do anything. They don't have to change anything.
Well, all right, boys, another good episode during this coronavirus bullshit. Hopefully we'll have some more exciting news the next time we're on. Definitely going to have some more exciting guests for you, that's for sure. Check out our YouTube videos. Everything's on YouTube now, so check that out. Facebook, Twitter, BlueLineHockeyClub.com. So check out all that good stuff. Instagram, we're big on Insta. We're fucking huge on
doing
Insta.
TikTok dances now, so Blue Line Hockey Club on TikTok, he does dances.
I can't wait to see this week's dance, Peters.
Got it.
Hey, can you start a TikTok dance for the Blue Line Hockey Club?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's this
Okay.
week's project. All right, boys. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice. See ya.
Oh, doctor.
Keep your head up.
Georges Laraque looking